Okay, so listen, Charlores, Dolores, whatever, she, she is absolutely petrifying, but I'm getting my entire life. Like, I'm getting my life. Okay, y'all, I'm gonna try, just for the sake of time, so I won't end up with like a 45-minute video. I'm gonna try and just pick out the main points of this episode, but y'all, I say that every time and we end up talking. Like, I end up running my mouth, so whatever. Okay, we already saw, Man in Black gonna do his Man in Black thing. He gonna shoot, what's her face, Clementine, which I'm so happy to see again. Like, see with a lot of like, dialogue and story behind her. Like, I've been missing her. So Clementine, whatever, reprogram her. But the main point is the fact that Maeve and Caleb are over here, like, going to this senator's house, right? So Jack Coleman is the actor who's playing Ken Whitney, and it was cool to see him again because I think he's been in a lot of stuff, but one of the main things I remember him from was Hero. So it was just nice to see him. So this Senator Ken and Anastasia, the senator and Anastasia, his wife, they're over here, and Caleb and Maeve is walking up like, "Hey girls, what's the tea? What's the tea, mamas?" And Maeve was just Maeve was like, "Guess what, girls? I already know that y'all are hosts, so out with it." And they end up fighting. And the thing that we see here is that Maeve powers ain't really working like how we used to work in a park now. William done made some upgrades or some shit, and she keeps saying freeze all motor functions, and the senator looking at her like, "Girl, what are you?" The host is like, "Girl, what the fuck are you talking about, bitch?" They end up fighting. Caleb get his ass beat, of course, almost get his ass beat again, and Maeve had to save it, which makes sense. I'm glad that they are like, it just makes sense. Like, if it's a host, it's gonna be harder for humans a lot of times to defeat. So it just makes a whole lot of sense. But she ends up finally using her powers on this on the senator, on the host senator, and Maeve finds out that Dolores and them have been, Dolores, Charlotte, whatever, William, all them hosts, the hosts have been going through, like, I mean, the way that they're making it sound is like they're going through the government and replacing, like, literally replacing people with hosts, like replacing people in the government with hosts. They said a number, I forget, it was in the 200s. But there's another element to this because Dolores / Charlotte or whatever, Charlores, I'm gonna just call her Charlores, is saying, she tells in one of the scenes, she tells William, when they're actually replacing the senator that Maeve and Caleb like found, like, she tells William, don't shoot their ass yet, or one of the hosts, I guess the senator host, don't shoot the girl yet, don't shoot Anastasia yet, the real Anastasia yet, because there's yet to be a purpose fulfilled with they ass. Like, take the livestock. What Dolores referred to them as livestock, like Charlotte referred to them as livestock. Take the livestock to the barn or whatever. Take her to the barn. I have to run experiments, and you're the perfect subject or whatever. And and so we zoom back, which I loved. Like, we zoom back to Maeve, and she's saying, "Oh yeah, it's it's actually worse than I fucking thought." I love this scene with Clementine and Jim Navarro, the deputy assistant attorney general for counterterrorism, long ass name. And Clementine was just like, "Girl, that's true for you. Come back when you have an appointment. I really don't give a fuck what you're talking about." Like, imagine the government coming into our offices demanding to speak when we purchase the government. Bitch, move. That's what Clementine said. Bitch, get the fuck out my face. So Caleb and Maeve end up finding the real Anastasia, right? Because obviously Dolores has said put her in the barn. So they end up finding the real Anastasia, and she's like out of it, girl. Like, she's out of it. We're seeing flies and dead horses all around, and them flies make me obviously with the way that the flies were used in episode 1 with that one guy at Hoover Dam or whatever, and the way they've been flying around now, the way they use in this episode, like, obviously the flies have something to do with affecting the way that humans think, controlling them, maybe, something like that. But either way, she been cutting open these horses, and when Caleb says her name, it's almost like she snaps out of it for 1 second, and then she looks around and said, "Oh, what happened to my horses?" And it's just like, okay, so you're obviously being controlled. Yeah, like, obviously, right? So what she says to Caleb and Maeve is this: "You're invited. It's opening night. Your old friend is anxious for a reunion. Don Giovanni, we can't be late. I've done my part. It's time to do yours. Free me." So it's like, obviously they're leaving. It's my opinion that Dolores or whatever the fuck, and William, they're leaving breadcrumbs and shit because it just doesn't make any. Don Giovanni is an opera, so it makes a lot of sense. But when they end up killing, when Maeve ends up killing what's her face, killing Anastasia, because obviously like she she goes off the deep end trying to kill Caleb, there's black blood coming out of her fucking skull. So it's like, what is Charlores doing? What is she doing to these fucking humans, girl? Like, what is she doing? What is she doing? So we have this scene with Dolores, going to work or wherever, and this guy, who's he's homeless, he's like. But he's talking about the tower. You can't hear it. You can't hear the music. Am I the only one who can hear the music? And Dolores like, girl, what the fuck are you talking? Charlotte, I mean, girl, you know what I'm talking about. Christine, she's like, girl, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, what the fuck are you talking about? And he kind of like brushes her off, but he says something about the birds too. And then we see like dead birds at the entrance to her job. So something is going on. I think it relates to this tower here. That has been used in like all the promos and stuff. So I'm just like, okay, obviously maybe Charlores is controlling something, is putting, if she already experimented on humans, what is being broadcast from this tower? What does it mean? You see what I'm saying? So I was a little nervous because when Caleb and Maeve walked into this auditorium and it was empty, I was like, okay, cool, they're about to fight. Somebody about to attack them. But then nobody attacked them. I was like, okay, what the hell is going on? I hope it's not nothing corny, because like, look, y'all already got me good with the first episode. I was like, okay, this is good. This is really good. Then we get to the second one. I was like, okay, if they in this opera and something stupid, or this empty ass auditorium and something stupid happens, I'm gonna be so mad. They walked up to this fucking record player. I was kind of like, okay, what the fuck is happening? What's going on? And I didn't even put two and two together that the door that they were entering, it was like the same style that of doors that was being shown in season 1, season 2, and all that shit. So I was like, I didn't even realize what was happening. Like, they enter this club, bar or whatever, they enter this bar and sit down. I was like, okay, y'all done follow this trail of breadcrumbs and nobody tried to fight y'all yet? Nobody tried to scrap with y'all yet? Like, what's going on? Bitch, then the whole entire building starts shaking. I was like, what's happening? Bitch, as soon as the train started moving, I was like, oh my God, they going to Westworld, bitch. I was like, they going to Westworld, bitch. Now, I don't know. Maybe some people saw that coming. Maybe some people watched and studied all of the promo and all that shit. But I don't know. I knew they were going back to Westworld, but I wasn't expecting for it to happen so soon. And I was not expecting for it to happen like this. I really, really liked it. I really liked it. I wonder what's the whole point? What is the point? Westworld, watching the show will break your brain wide open and close it and then tear it again and then be like, hey girl, you never had a brain in the first place. I just love the show. Okay, so I love how Clementine and Charlores came in and dragged the shit out of this counter-terrorism guy, Jim or whatever, in his car. Tessa Thompson is doing an absolutely amazing fucking job just convincing me of just how scary Dolores, she is absolutely terrifying. And the thing is that Tessa doesn't even raise her voice, and Dolores didn't either, and she was terrifying too. She is terrifying when she wants to be. So I love how Tessa Thompson's interpretation of acting like Dolores, right? Even though we know she still has some elements of Charlotte in her. That's my understanding of it. But I just love Tessa Thompson. Like, she is terrifying without screaming, without just slight facial expressions, the weird way that she smiles and grins at shit. So good, right? So, basically the counterterrorism guy's like, oh damn, like, I was right about this all along. Like, I knew something was up. And Charlores was like, girl, not really. Not really. She said it would not be practical for us to replace you one at a time. What kind of existence would that be for us? I want my people to be able to grow, flourish, to find their own identity. I have plans for your kind. And it's just very ominous, very dark, very like, she's like, yeah, I will replace you bitches when I feel like I need to. But I have another plan. And that plan is crawling up your eye right now. I was like, God damn. And it's not even, I mean, of course, anything going in your eye is extremely uncomfortable. But bitch, that man was screaming. Like, that man was screaming in that car. That man was screaming in that car. Bitch, Christina over here about to lose her goddamn job. Her boss called her like, ma'am, where in the hell are you, girl? Like, bitch, and she tried to lie. It's like, bitch, I can see your coordinates right now. Like, and she's accessing the like her work database and all that shit because she realizes that her story that she wrote literally matches up with what's written in the obituary for this guy Peter Myers, right? So she ends up going to, what is it, like Hope mental health or whatever, Hope centers or whatever. And she ends up finding out that the guy, Peter Myers, we already know that he just died, right? But they already are talking about like, oh yeah, he left his fortune for everybody, for people to lessen their pain, and they dedicated a whole entire wing to his ass. So Dolores, Christina, whatever, she's like, this not making no sense. This man just died, like, and they already got all his coin. And they already dedicated. It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. And she tries to tell this to Maya, her roommate, and this is the first time where I was like, I don't trust her. I do not trust Maya. I do not trust her roommate. This was the first time I watched a scene with Maya and I was like, oh, I don't trust her. And I think it has a lot to do with the fact that they weren't in the same room when she was on the phone, because she was just dismissing Christina's feelings. Like, she was just dismissing her feelings. Like, if you're an actual friend, if you actually care about somebody, even if you feel like somebody's being delusional or if they're doing too much, you at least want them to calm down and be at peace. It seemed like she was just like brushing her shit, like, oh no, it doesn't matter. Stop worrying about that shit. Like, what do you mean stop worrying about that shit? This guy literally just tried to attack her. The cut is still on her arm. It's still on Christina's arm. She goes to this place to investigate and something seems fishy. You still trying to dismiss her feelings? I don't trust Maya. I don't trust Maya. Remember, we don't even know how we got in this fucking situation in the first place. All we know is that Christina's waking up in her new apartment from episode 1. And that she has a roommate named Maya. We don't even know how she got there. We don't know what's going on. I don't trust Maya. Mark my words, something is going to happen with this woman. Now, as somebody who's been watching this show since season 1, obviously, I absolutely love this reintroduction that the audience gets, that we get to Westworld. It's just great, and like the little quips and shit that Maeve makes, like pretending like she's never been there before, even though like obviously we know that she has. It was fun. It was cute. But this moment where the host zooms in on Caleb, and Caleb's already getting hypnotized by her super seducey powers. Like, what the fuck's going on? Even Maeve was like, girl, we're good. Maeve was like, and you see her face here. She's like, you folding already? You were just asking me about my powers not working when we entered the opera, and now you folding? We didn't even make it in the Westworld, nigga. Like, you folding already? It's gonna be a disaster. It's gonna be a disaster. We find out that regular William is alive. Regular William, child. Human William, you know what I'm talking about. Human William is alive. And Charlores is keeping him as a pet. The only reason why I'm like really zeroing in on the emotional aspect of it is because at the end of the episode, like the showrunners kind of talked about, the making of the episode. And one of them, they were like, well, she's keeping him as a pet. It's almost like reflecting that there's still some emotional connection, some kind of emotional thread there. Because if there wasn't, Charlores would have just killed this motherfucker off immediately and been done with it, right? And on top of that, I feel like she would not have cloned him. She would have found someone else to clone it, So William asked the questions that we kind of want to know too. Like, why don't you let me die? And she says, because you controlled our every move. Basically, humans controlled the host's every move, and I'm about to do the same to you. You're here to be the loser. And it's like, okay, I get it. You want to watch him. You want him to watch you win. And watch him suffer as a loser. I get that, but at the same time, like I said, I feel like there's still obviously some kind of thing there for you to have still keeping this motherfucker alive. Like, Then William says, okay, which is kind of what we thought in the beginning, or at least in season 3. Like, let me guess, you're gonna copy yourself to repopulate this world. And then Dolores says this, which I find very interesting. It would be pointless to bring children into this world where they will be consumed by jackals. I had to make sure that they would be safe. Your kind made a sport out of hunting us. I had to cut off your paws. and make sure you people will never be able to harm us again. And I'm just like, I'm wondering, what does cut off your paws mean? Does it mean take away your free will with all these flies and experiments that she's doing, Anastasia and the rest of these human beings, and broadcasting signals from the tower and all that shit? Like, what's going on? Before I get to the end, because I almost forgot to talk about this scene with William, the host William, and the vice president. That shit was so goddamn good. The vice president say, hey, you rebuilding your company, you doing what you do need to do. All this bullshit that you was doing offshore, it was cool that you're doing it offshore, but now you're doing it on our territory, we're going to shut you down. And I'm sure there's a whole lot. He also said, like, oh, I'm so happy that you were able to escape your spiral or whatever that shit was. I was like, But William is, of course, not intimidated, I'll say. I love the scene with Clementine talking about, oh, if y'all are the Secret Service, then why are you so obvious? William was like, girl, you should have brought your entourage, Mr. Vice President, because you're about to get your lights knocked the fuck out permanently. And of course, we see the host vice president pop up at the end when William was announcing that the park was reopening. He's announcing a new section of the park here, which was basically just like the golden age of the U.S. 1950s kind of era, which is cool. I can't wait to explore, this park. I love how Maeve rolls her eyes at the host's hat question, because the host asked, do you want to wear white or black hat? And like I said, Maeve rolls her eyes, but Caleb says, I'm not really a hat person. And he walks in and Maeve smiles. I love that too, because like, obviously we all know that the hats are used to scan, they're used to scan like brain activity, like, right? Like scan the brain activity of the guests. But I'm just wondering, first of all, like wouldn't the host know? Like if I put my phone next to my fucking computer or whatever, and I go to settings, it's gonna show that the Bluetooth, you know what I mean? So host should know when you're next to another host, right? Unless Maeve's powers is doing something. But I'm wondering how long Maeve can enter, because I feel like if you put that fucking hat on, right, onto Maeve's head, it's gonna automatically know that this is not a fucking human, right? So I'm wondering how long Maeve is going to be in there without people realizing that she's a fucking host as well. I'm wondering how many other hosts are in there acting like they guests and they not. I'm also wondering, like, how much of this plan is going, how much of what we're seeing is going according to William and Charlores' plan versus how much Maeve and Caleb are actually in control, because like they were led to the opera, they were led, like, you know what I mean? Like, how does it even basically what I'm saying is, does it even matter does it even matter to hide the fact that you're a host in Westworld? Like, does William and Charlores and the rest of them bitches already know that you in there? Like, what is really and I want to know what's going on with this tower. It's all over the place. But this is what I mean by I wanted Westworld back. Like, season 3 was cute, but season 4 is shaping up to be like, okay, classic Westworld, like, it's back, and it's not done in the same kind of way. It's like a renewal. It's like a refreshing. It's like a different angle that they're coming at it, but it still feels like Westworld again. I'm just like, oh yes, this is what I wanted. So I can't wait till the next episode. Please let me know what y'all think in the comments, and I will catch you all later.